Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Stuart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News Podcast for the second week of January 2019. And we are here in the Midwest at another snowstorm. And that snowstorm is probably going to be a record snowstorm for parts of the Midwest. But in Europe, and I don't have this on our links because I was just going to mention it in passing, the Alps in Austria, Switzerland, Germany, Italy are having the worst winter in 30 years or more. And the snow is neck deep there and still coming down. So very interesting weather that we're having. And snow all the way down to the coast of Greece. And also snow for Turkey, Jordan, Lebanon, and Israel. Now that sounds like global warming to me. Yes, but closer to home, here in the United States, there is some information, and I know I keep talking about this, and you're hearing the dogs making some noise because we cannot keep them away when we are on television, on video, because actually they were so excited that you liked them, that they read all of the posts, and they actually said that they wanted to be on every podcast from now on, and maybe even read some Russian Siberian news. But we'll see how that goes. They don't speak English very well. Anyway, and by the way, the breed is called Yakusha Laika. Yakusha Laika. They're from the coldest inhabited part of the earth, in the northeastern part of Siberia. Now,
before you say, and somebody was very kind that mentioned about all the tingling they heard in the background. They thought they were the dog tags.
No, those were my testicles. It was very cold that day.
Actually, we had them on a leash, so if we had to grab them. So you heard the leash, not the tags.
And actually, below the table here, I am on a leash, and Janet grabs me whenever she feels that I'm being inappropriate. Anyway, to serious news, on the southern border, some things that you need to know because it is serious, despite what CNN says, because there has to be security to reduce the entry of illegal immigrants, criminals, and drugs, and keeping out terrorists for public safety, because otherwise it will give legal permission for people to come in who should not be here. And there is a crisis situation. Let me give you some statistics. In the fiscal year of 2018, 17,000 adults at the border with existing criminal records were arrested by Customs and Border Protection.
That's a lot of people.
Yes. In 2017 and 2018, 235,000 aliens, not space aliens, but from other countries, with various criminal charges or convictions within the interior of the United States, including 100,000 for assault, 30,000 for sex crimes, and 4,000 for homicides were found at the border. We are now averaging 60,000 illegal and inadmissible aliens a month on the southern border. And in December 2018, more than 20,000 minors were smuggled into the United States. The immigration court backlog is 800,000 cases. There is a 2,000% increase in asylum claims in the last 5 years, most of them coming from Central America. And 9 out of 10 claims from the Central American migrants are rejected because of the information I just gave you. In 2017, 135,000 illegal and inadmissible family units arrived from Central America.
Pretty much.
This is Jay.
I've got him. He's on my lap.
Yeah. See, we come from the same country. We look very similar. Yes. Anyway. Yeah, but he looks nice, but he can bite. Anyway, there's a 280. Don't try to be nice to me now. There's a 280% increase in family units over the previous year. 300 Americans are killed every week from heroin, 90% of which comes from the southern border crossing. 1 in 3 migrant women are sexually assaulted on their journey to the U.S. border, and 50 illegal migrants per day are referred to emergency medical care, and 4,300 people a year are in danger and distress. So, illegal immigration is not a progressive issue. Many people are killed, and the ones who now are wanting the open borders are the same ones who didn't want it before, including moron Senator Chuck Schumer, who I actually met at my son's graduation one year. He said, I know you're not an illegal. You have a little Russian passport. You came with a passport and they let you in. You're not illegal. He's worried that I'm talking about him. But you didn't come from that border, okay? It was a different border. So Chuck Schumer said, illegal immigration is wrong. Plain and simple. And he said that makes no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and rationalizing our system of legal immigration. He has said it, so why is he now against everything he said just previously? And Senator, including in the past Obama and Clinton, all voted for hard physical barrier walls. They all voted for it before. And Israel has one, you know, and it's 99% effective.
Where is it?
It's between the Palestinian territory and the proper part of Israel. But there's a loophole in the American laws involving minors. Under these legal loopholes, if an illegal minor or those traveling with a minor merely set foot on American soil, they cannot be successfully returned home. And that's why it's a big problem. The law has to be changed. And children are terribly used by criminals and what they call coyotes, people who use them to gain access to the country. And the children are the biggest victims of all. All of this that I'm telling you is true. Do you want, those of you who are American citizens, do you want to turn the U.S. into Sweden or Germany and see what's going on there? I've reported on that last couple of weeks. Here are some more interesting statistics about U.S. that in the world, it's the United States is the top pick for migrants seeking a new home. 158 million people, or larger than the population of Russia, want to move to the United States. Here's the list. Here's the top of the list of the world. 15% of the world, or almost 800 million people, want to move out of their countries. 158 million, as I said, want to go to U.S. Only 47 million want to go to Canada, A. 42 to Germany. Why would you want to go there? Someone's bite. Did you just bite Daddy's knee? That was the... Stop that! You'll go right back to Russia in 1 minute. It's bit my knee. 36 million want to go to France or Australia. 34 million to UK. 24 million to Saudi Arabia. Who the heck? There's not even that many people in Saudi Arabia. I guess they all want to be housekeepers or servants or whatever.
Well, Canada has a lot of land, so...
No, but Saudi Arabia.
I know, but back to Canada. They should just put them all in Canada.
It's mostly tundra. No one can live there. 21 million want to go to Spain. 17 million to Japan. Well, I guess if you like sushi. And 15 million to your country, Italy. How do you like that? Now, here's even more interesting. These are countries where at least half the adults would like to move. Sierra Leone in Africa, 71% of the people want to leave.
Maybe we should just go country by country.
In El Salvador, 52% want to leave. In Haiti, 66% want to leave. Something's wrong with those countries. So imagine if all of these people came to the USA, of all those 158 million came to the United States, what would happen to this country?
Well, you know, you said 800 million total.
But not
down.
all, they don't all choose U.S.
Right.
Anyway, speaking of U.S. and the government and the Democrats, as you know, the Democrats have elected really horrible new congresspeople. Mm-hmm. One of them is the Representative Rashida Tlaib.
I talked about her last week.
Yes, you thought that she made an anti-Semitic tweet?
No, I told her about what she said about Trump. And
but now she's accusing pro-Israel Americans of dual loyalty, and she said that they're more loyal to Israel than to U.S. Let me remind Miss Tlaib that when she was elected, she wrapped herself in a Palestinian flag. So what country does she support? And the sad part is, she's from Michigan.
No.
So I want to know, what moron people voted for her, right? And she said, she made claims that that were equal to what the Nazis said about the Jews in Germany. Mm-hmm. And she's very anti-Semitic. And actually, she defended former CNN contributor Mark Lamont Hill, who was fired for calling for the elimination of Israel and endorsing violence against Jews. She supported him. Mm. Why is she in Congress? Why is she in there? She should be ejected from the United States.
Somebody put her there, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And she says that she's opposed to the existence of the State of Israel and advocates for its replacement by a Palestinian state. Here's a newsflash, Ms. Tlaib. There is a Palestinian state. It's called Jordan. It's 80% Palestinian. Why don't you go there and wrap yourself in the flag? That's what I say. And then, of course, like you said last week, she made the statement
that just don't say it, but they know what
that we're going to impeach the MF.
Yeah.
She sounds really intelligent.
Well, and then we talk a lot about being kind and compassionate, so I don't think that's within this person, apparently.
No. And President Trump said he found her comments disgraceful and thought she dishonored herself as well as her family. And I agree, and her entire nation that she considers wrapped herself in their flag. Now, if I went to the West Bank of Palestine and I won an election and wrapped myself in an American flag, what would those people think of me?
I don't think so much.
She should be immediately disqualified and removed from her office. Now, she's not the only one, because there was another Muslim woman elected to Congress. She's a Somali American. And maybe you know about this one, the Democrats also elected Kirsten Sinema. She is the first openly bisexual to be elected to the Senate, and she refused to be sworn in on a Bible. That's interesting. And both Rashida Tlaib and Inan Omar openly embraced anti-Semite and Muslim Brotherhood sympathizers. That's not good. And they said they abhor the Constitution and the Judeo-Christian values that shape this country. So they should be expelled.
Well, don't they have to say, they have to uphold the rules of the U.S.?
Well, they get sworn in on a Quran, which says that they don't have to do any of that damn thing. Mm-hmm. First of all, again, my point from last week, they're Muslim women. If they really believe in their religion, they should not be allowed to do this. It's against Islam for a woman to be in public office. Mm-hmm. So they're both hypocrites and liars of their own people. Here's the next lovely lady, who they're calling Commie Princess, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democrat from New York, who dodged questions about her fuzzy math for misstating statistics about Pentagon spending in a 60 Minutes interview with brilliant, wonderful Anderson Cooper, who also has something up his butt. Now, this is what her answer was. There's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than being morally correct. Yes, she said that. So what she's saying is facts are not important to her. Only what she considers to be morally correct, even if it's factually wrong.
No, we didn't appoint her judge.
Really, she's like according to this article, she's like every socialist or communist demagogue of the past who paved the path to hell with good intentions. Again, my question to you voters in New York, what moron voters put her in office? And hopefully she'll be booted out soon. Here's another moron in office.
Is another one?
Pope Francis, who compared the populist and nationalist movements to the days of Nazi Germany. Well, he would know, since the whole Vatican was supportive of Nazi Germany. and he said this to a group of diplomats who came to see him at a meeting. The Pope went on to put forward his belief that globalist organizations are key to the maintenance of peace and international stability. Yes, by removing self-identification and culture. And nowhere in the Pope's speech, 5,600 words, did the Pope mention the word subsidiarity. And this is a principle of Catholic social thought that protects the freedom of individuals, families, and communities from interference by state and international governments. The Catholic Church consistently affirmed the vital principle of subsidiarity, which determines that a community of higher order should not interfere in the internal life of a community of lower order and depriving it of its functions, but should support it in case of need and help to coordinate its activity with the activities of the rest of society for the common good.
What does that mean?
So it means that the Catholic Church, in its principles, supports the idea of nationalism and independent governments for the people and communities. Mm-hmm. And now the Pope is saying, no, that's not good. Mm-hmm. So he's against his own religion. Another one.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're changing their religion.
So here's my question to the Poopy Pope. So if that's what you think, Pope, why isn't the Vatican part of the EU? Why does the Vatican remain its independence outside of the EU? Mm-hmm. And why doesn't the Pope allow immigrants to live on Vatican property? I should see hundreds and thousands of them on that huge square in front of the Vatican.
Well, just in his house alone, he could probably host a country.
Yeah, according to the Catholic religion, sovereignty of nations should never be compromised by overly aggressive international legal or political structures. Maybe you should read your own words of Catholicism, Pope. And another moron thing he did, and please excuse me, but I must say this. The Vatican News paid tribute to Cuba on the 60th anniversary of the Communist Revolution. And then they quickly deleted it. And why? Because who else congratulated them? The socialist dictatorship president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro. And also the other wonderful person, Bolivia's Evo Morales, who said, we salute the victory of the valiant Cuban people on this pro-imperialist dictatorship of Fulgencio Batista when they took over. And let's remind the Pope that when Fidel Castro took over, he called Catholics social scum.
The Pope said that.
No, I said Fidel Castro said that. And now he's congratulating Cuba on their revolution.
I see.
And Christmas was banned, churches were shut down, priests were silenced and arrested, and it is estimated 500,000 Cubans fled for the United States for political and religious reasons. Now, things have changed since then. Why? Because after 1991, the collapse of the Soviet Union, who supported Cuba, Cuba was deprived of its main financial backer, so Castro turned to the Vatican for diplomatic assistance, and then the Cuban government loosened the restrictions on the church, and the Communist Party dropped their ban on their believers. And as you know, I was just there last month, and I can say there is religious freedom in Cuba. The people are wonderful. Things have changed, but it is very, very, very poor. And they really, in my opinion, the embargo should be lifted against Cuba, and there should be free commerce between Cuba and everybody else.
So you mean the Vatican actually gave them financial assistance?
I don't know what the Vatican did, but they talk out of both sides of their mouths and butts. Now, another lovely lady, Hillary. She's not a lady, she's kind of like a creature from the Black Lagoon. Anyway, she joined with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's another creature from the Black Lagoon, that they're going to push to codify Roe versus Wade, the abortion law, in the next 30 days. Why? Because Ruth Bader Ginsburg is probably dead already, and they're putting her on ice because they don't want Trump to have another Supreme Court justice in there. And under current law, Roe versus Wade prohibits abortions after 24 weeks unless it's necessary to save a woman's life. By the way, Catholicism is that woman dies to save the baby. Anyway, it also does away with criminal. They want to change the law so that you can have an abortion after 24 weeks, which is a murder.
Yes.
They also want to do away with criminal penalties for self-abortion, and defines the word person as a victim to mean a human being who has been born and is alive.
So in other words, if your baby...
If you kill it and then it's born, it's not a person.
24 weeks, that's 6 months.
Because they said
4 months.
that the new Justice Kavanaugh is going to reverse Roe versus Wade. So they're rushing to get it done before he does anything. Roe versus Wade never gave permission for non-doctors to perform abortion. And this new bill that Hillary and Cuomo want to put in specifically will allow non-doctors to perform abortions and also repeals protections that are currently in the law.
How can a non-doctor do such a thing?
It would remove abortion from the state's penal code, which means that there would no longer be a criminal avenue to pursue if a baby dies in the womb through an act of domestic violence or another crime, because it's not a person.
That's horrible.
Yes, it's horrible. And you can thank, and this is who you wanted to be president? This B-I-T-C-H witch? That's who you wanted to be president?
And even now they can have abortions up to 6 months.
Yes.
That's terrible.
Well,
24 weeks.
I have a whole section on this in my current coming up class next week, because it is a replay of the ancient murder of children before the astral god Moloch and Hillary and Cuomo are worshippers of this, who allow child sacrifice to astral entities. Hillary is evil and demonic, and so is Cuomo. And I will just say that plain. And so is his brother on CNN, who really has no brain. He just reads a teleprompter, along with his friend Pooper. Anyway, I found this last article very funny. The top 100 healthiest cities in the world. Guess what the number one healthiest city in the world is?
St. Joseph, Michigan.
No, it's not even on the list.
No.
Paris. With all their chocolate and cheese and wine and cream. Number one healthy city. Miami is the top. It's number 6 on the list, but the healthiest city in the U.S., Miami, where it's hot, humid, there's bacteria,
all
there's
stuff
slime,
in the air and the red tides,
filthy, disgusting air and water. That's the healthiest city in the U.S. Then number 9, I love this one. Denpasar, Bali, Indonesia. Have you been there? Who voted for these places? Denpasar was hot, dirty, disgusting, and sick.
They didn't ask
and they're number
us.
9. But here's one for you. Milan was number 12. I could maybe think that could be pop. But this one, number 15 in the world, Washington, D.C. Who wrote this? Were they on Earth? 17, New York City at the top one. Really? And 20, Las Vegas. Drugs, alcohol, prostitution. Yeah, that's a real healthy city. Number 20 in the world.
Maybe they're going by that. They think that's it.
Oh my God. And number 25 in the top 100. Jakarta, Indonesia. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tidal wave, caning of Muslim citizens. Who the heck did this? This is the most ridiculous list I've ever seen. It's like saying that Damascus is the safest city in the world. Might as well say that. Or that Somalia is like the paradise on the earth. Seriously. Go on.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
All right, I have just a few stories today.
Okay, good.
So the first one, you're not supposed to say good because my news is so fascinating. You say,
wait,
really?
You're pulling that leash on my waist.
Yes, I am.
Actually, it's not on my waist, is it?
We won't tell them.
No.
Anyway, did you hear about the military-grade anti-drone equipment that all major UK airports are going to be putting in? Because apparently drones now are becoming quite an issue around airports.
In England.
In England. Well, it has to be for the whole world, really, because the aviation industry itself is asking about what to do with drones.
And guess who had the technology to stop it?
Who?
Israel.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh.
Okay, anyway, so what's interesting to me is that they've actually shut down airports because of drones. So now these drone things have been around for a while. So why all of a sudden are they making it a big deal? That I don't know.
Because now they're attacking airplanes.
Yeah, but they're saying now they're also installing anti-drone equipment on prisons, power stations, military sites. So, next thing you know, they're going to be like everywhere.
Just doing it so that people go, drones will keep us safe. So let's see them all in the sky flying over our houses.
Yeah, I saw one the other day, and it had on the Facebook thing, and it had toilet paper on it. So you know how, like, for football games and stuff, when they do people's houses, they put these drones with these toilet paper things, and then they toilet papered somebody's house and trees.
That's really brilliant.
Yeah. It's better, though,
that's a real smart person who thought of that.
It's better than making problems for airplanes.
Right.
So it's something else they could do instead of make problems.
They're giving us some ideas, yeah.
And then in South Korea, believe it or not, they have a mock prison where people pay to go and stay for a day or two.
Only a day or two?
It's called Prison Inside Me facility. It's in the northeast Hongchong.
Such a language.
It's hosted over 2,000 inmates, many of them stressed office workers and students seeking relief from South Korea's demanding work and academic culture. So apparently they pay like up to $90 to be locked in for 24 hours. And then they have strict rules. No phones, no clocks, no talking to other inmates. They get a blue uniform, a yoga mat, a tea set, a pen, a notebook. They sleep on the floor.
And they pay to do this.
They pay to do this. There's a small toilet inside the room, no mirror.
And why do they want to do that?
And the menu is for breakfast, a steamed sweet potato and banana. Oh, no, that's dinner. Shake for dinner. And for breakfast, they get rice porridge. That's it. And apparently, the founder was a prosecutor who often put in a 100-hour work week, so he said he would rather go into solitary confinement so that he could take a week off and rest. So people are actually doing this, and like I said, 2,000 people since the thing opened up in 2013. And then after they stay in the prison, and they said that where they were wasn't a prison, but the real prison is where they return to. Wasn't that sad?
That's kind of like what you do to me a couple of times a week.
I think it's sad. So... And then, now, here's one for you vegetarians and vegans out there.
Ooh, I hope they're not listening.
This is actually from information from New Zealand.
Oh, that's brilliant people there, right there.
Apparently in New Zealand, hospitalizations for iron deficiency anemia are on the rise and costing millions of dollars. Apparently, it went from 3.2 million to 6.7 million over the past 10 years because people are not eating enough red meat. It said not only red meat, seafood, leafy greens, those are the ones where you can get most iron, but it's easier to absorb your iron from meat than it is from plants. It says the average New Zealander's annual red meat consumption dropped 22 kilograms in the last 10 years, and lamb and mutton consumption has dropped by 15 kilograms.
The silence of the lambs.
And there was one, of course, they have to give an example. So they talked about one young woman who was 14, who was first diagnosed with iron deficiency. It took her 2 years after being a vegetarian, when she was diagnosed, I guess, for her to get her iron to go back to normal. And 10 years later, she said she still has to eat very carefully because of all the damage she did to her body when she was younger and had that 2 years of being a vegetarian.
Probably not Maori people because they eat people.
She said that she had dizziness, lightheadedness, unshakable fatigue. Her skin became pale. She had dark circles under her eyes.
She just described me.
Yeah. So anyway, she said that, and then the article says the symptoms of low iron are subtle at first, so then people take too long to be checked out and they wind up in the hospital. They said basically you're starving your body of oxygen. So, like we've been telling you, you need iron in your diet, people.
Because red meat creates red blood cells which carry oxygen.
Yeah. So, sorry, but you need to eat meat.
You know, the vegetarians aren't listening because they passed out before we started.
Yeah, well, we'll find out because we'll get a few nasty comments, I'm sure.
Probably.
Or they might say respectfully, blah, blah. But
I don't care what they say, they're wrong.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I tell you, you've got to be able to see energy fields so you can really see what's going on. Okay, next. Did you know Hallmark is selling cards to celebrate transgender people who are transitioning?
Okay.
So, for example, if you want to find this in the Hallmark Cards, there's a section that's called Encouragement, and then under that a subsection called Gender/Transitioning. And then, for example, they give it just a sample. You're becoming who you've always been, and how wonderful is that, blah, blah. Now,
you're not becoming who you're becoming who your programming has told you you are.
And that's what I told you last week, but I'm just reiterating this is, why take drugs? Why lop off parts or put them on? Just be who you are. And
there's a thing on the news. It's a church. I don't remember where it is, but it has a big billboard, and it said, "Bruce Jenner is still a man. Be what you were born to be."
Yeah, and that's what I said. It doesn't matter. Don't take drugs to try and change yourself into something, because like we talked about, then you're going to try and change into God knows what. And that's what they're doing with people. I want to be a cat, I want to be a cow, I want to be a, we've put stuff all over the place. Anyway, and here we go into some more of our New World religion stuff. Christian Bale thanks Satan for inspiring him to play Dick Cheney when he accepted his Golden Globe. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, not surprising.
Yeah, he said he thanks Satan for giving him inspiration for playing the role, and then the Church of Satan, of course, popped up and said, "Hails Christian, hail Satan." So,
right.
There you go.
We're going to do a section on that next week too.
Then we have someone named, I'm not a football fan, Bill Belichick, who was called the Devil by Rex Ryan, who, he's the former New York Jets head coach, because apparently Bill Belichick is going to be coaching some game. It'll be his 40th one, and the one he's against has only done it twice. So therefore somebody said that this other guy would be intimidated, and Rex Ryan said Anthony is not intimidated by the devil. So that's what I'm telling you. And speaking of the devil and Astral and ritual and sacrifice, this was so interesting. I just found this a couple days ago. There's a new show out called The Masked Singer. Premiered January 2nd. And apparently what they're doing is they're having a person, and I don't know if it's supposed to be a celebrity or if it's just a regular person, I'm not sure, sing. And these elaborate outfits. So the one I watched, they had like a little clip. The one I watched was called Lion, and they had another one called Peacock. And these honestly look like horrible astral entities.
Why? I don't understand why.
Well, it's so that then it's like the America's Got Talent thing where they sing in front of these judges, and then they say like who is the best.
So?
But you don't know who the singer is, so that doesn't influence you.
Well, it shouldn't influence you. The voice is what counts, not the costume.
But the point is they're imprinting people for astral crap.
Stupid.
No, that their agenda is to imprint people for astral stuff. The stuff that the Lion one and the Peacock one were totally astral.
I agree. It's for imprinting of masking your personality.
And astral crap, and getting people used to those kind of things, singing, the astral coming and talking to them. It's terrible. It's like what I've told you before about these storms they're naming now. To me it reminds me a lot of pagan times when everything was a god of this and a god of that. And so like their moons, you were going to talk about the moon thing.
Oh yeah,
Somebody
someone asked about the moon. Well, should I do it now or you?
Well, I'm just going to, this basically done, but I mean just to tell you, they have a deer, a peacock, which I saw. Then they have a monster, a unicorn, a hippo, and they're going to reveal more. Maybe they've done.
I have all
right
of that
now.
in my family.
Yeah, but the point is still, they are busy imprinting you, Satan, devil, this mass singer
I have
crap.
them too, my family.
What you're talking about, the abortion and sacrificing children. I mean, it's all going on there. People don't kill their own young. I'm sorry, you don't kill your own. Actually, I'm not sorry. You don't do that.
The way some of my children have been, I can see where people could eat their children.
Yeah, well, but anyway, and the thing with the name storms and all this stuff, it's preparing you, in my opinion, to go back to like these pagan times. So you know what I think about that. Anyway, go ahead with what you were going to tell them about the
super red blood moon on January 21 or 20, something like that. Anyway, according to the Kabbalah and the Hebrew rabbi interpretation of it, it says that this means there's going to be increased war, earthquakes, and very bad things happening to Western countries.
Yeah, and that's why we keep telling you, you got to do your protection work, you need to take care of your own mind, you need to do your inner healing work, you need to connect to your source, you need to...
Well, if I may,
yes.
People have been asking why I'm so angry and irritated and so
That's
on.
not you.
Oh, you asked me that.
Did I?
Yeah. Well, the answer is this.
I'm a Swordlow, and I don't...
Well, you're just adopted, but I'm a real one. And it's because you wouldn't understand.
Yeah. Anyway, True Blood, Blue Blood, True World History. These are really great books to help you understand what's going on now. This gives you a lot of foundation for the things we're talking about in the news, the things we talk about in our classes, the things we talk about on our website. If you're not a member of our website, you are missing out. It's less than $1 a day. I tell you, if you buy the year, it's like 50 cents a day, maybe 53 cents a day.
And speaking of that, today the last seat was taken in our conference.
There you
The
go.
last one.
Last one came in.
The rest
today.
of you,
gone.
you're not gonna know
History.
a damn thing.
Yeah. Oh, this mind control programming, 13 cubed, true reality of sexuality, and on our website again, free to members. They have access to a ton of videos. They have access to you and I on a regular daily basis. We have our study blogs, our affirmation blogs. You know what we tell you about the energies and the months and things that you're not going to find anywhere else. And like I tell you, we do have a 3-day trial membership going on. So it's kind of like try before you buy. However, we do have some people who abuse that.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. So, you know, like they sign up for 3 days, then they cancel, they sign up for 3 more days, and it's like really...
I thought there was a rule against that.
Well,
that
when we
can't.
find you, we do stop, we block your IP address. But I'm just telling you, you know, really, it's less than $1 a day, and why do you have to abuse that? It's telling, you know, you only hurt yourself. What you give out comes back. So stop hurting yourself. And, you know, if you want a membership after 3 days, if you like it, less than $1 a day to support us. If you don't like it, go away.
Yeah, we don't like you either.
Yeah. All right. So, and then we have the self-healing webinars that ongoing. February, we'll be starting up our next session. We only go February, March, April, May, 4 more months after January. So if you're interested, we're doing really good work. We always do based on this book. So that's always very, very helpful. Keeps you going. Once a week we meet for about an hour in the evenings, and it's a webinar, and people love it.
And then the class is next week. If you're not signed up, it's too late.
Too late.
And you're never going to know what I'm going to say, and too bad.
Yeah, too bad.
And then in March I go to Quito, and in May I go to Havana, and in June you go to Italy.
Yeah.
So
lots of things going on.
Happening.
Watch the website. Take care, and until next time.
Bye for now.
Bye.